So why did Apple split its stock 4-for-1? I think it's pretty obvious. I think it's because my grandson's proudest possession is his Apple phone. I think it's because my two granddaughters' proudest possession is their Apple phone, even over their cars. When I was 16, when I was 18 years old, my proudest possession was a 56 Ford. But then I didn't have availability of an Apple phone. Well, now why is this related to Apple's split 4-to-1? Well, if you remember, I told you last week that the number one buyer of Tesla last week and of Kodak last week was Robinhood. Well, who do you think's trading on Robinhood? Did you remember that I told you that E-Trade increased their number of accounts by more in the first 6 months of this year than they did in the preceding 6 years? Well, who do you think those new accounts are? I suspect it has something to do with the $3 trillion that floated into our economy over that same period of time. I suspect it's where money ends up after it trickles down. Think about it. You get money. You pay your bills, you buy your groceries, you buy the diapers for the kids, you maybe go out to dinner, you put some gas in the car. But what do you do with the money you have left over? What happens to that money? It goes into the stock market, or it goes into a savings account because you think the market's going to crash and someone else puts it in the stock market. That's where it goes. And Tim Cook and his staff realized that the biggest issue right now, this next week and the coming weeks, is, are we going to send out $2 more trillion or $3 more trillion? Well, we know where that money's going to end up. You can look at the charts. You can look at the charts on the other stocks, on Carnival Cruise Line, on oh, please don't look at Kodak and Nikola and those bait and switch things they did. Bait. No, everything else is stalled out except tech. Go look at the graph on the triple Qs. All this money is going in one direction. It's going towards the NASDAQ market. It's going towards technology. And so Apple said, look, these young millennials who are at Robinhood, and probably some of them at E-Trade and Charles Schwab, aren't comfortable spending $400 on our stock. Hell, they already spent $800 on the phone. But they might be comfortable spending $100. So why don't we do a 4-1 split? Well, come on. It isn't going to change the PE ratio. It isn't going to change the debt to equity ratio. They don't know anything about that. They want to be a shareholder. I think the smartest thing that Apple could do would be put out a little emblem with gum on the back of it that you could stick on your computer, and it was of that Apple logo, and it had on it shareholder. They would have a piece of jewelry, shareholder. I not only have the phone, I'm a shareholder. I'm an Apple stockholder. No, this was stroke of genius. This was stroke of genius. And don't be surprised. I don't know how deep Jeff's going to have to split his stock from 3,000 down to, 100. That's a pretty heavy cut. But we have a whole new group of people who want to play in this game. And these people are smart enough to know we've got to get the price of entry down so that they can come in. You're going to see a lot of this. You're going to see a lot of this coming up because the ballpark has changed. And then, yeah, but, Carrie, what happens when we get a vaccine and everything goes back to normal? This can never happen again. No more than the Twin Towers being bombed can ever happen again. So we spent all the money we needed to make sure our country was safe, and it never happened again. After World War II, we said this can never happen again. And we spent all the money that we needed to make sure it never happened again. We organized the world so that it could never happen again, and it never happened again. You look at anything, the subprime crisis. Hell, that can never happen again. So our national debt went from $8 trillion to $18 trillion over the next 10 years. And then, as I said, look at where it went. Again, look at that triple Q's chart. That's where that money went. Anytime money is put into the economy, in whatever form, whether it's a paycheck, or it's a relief program, or it's welfare, that money is spent, and it is spent, and it is spent, and it is spent until it hits the bottom, the reciprocal that holds it, that someone says, I don't have a need for that money. I need to put it someplace where it'll grow for me. There's only one place for it to go, and that's the stock market. And just look at past history. Look at the Dow, compare it to the S&P 500, and then compare it to the NASDAQ. That's where it's going, and that's where it's going to go in the future. And the more attractive they can make their stock price to the millennials, who aren't going, they don't care about the PE ratio. They don't care. They just want that little emblem that says, I'm a stockholder in Apple. Way to go. Way to go, Tim. Once again, you come through.